Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I don't have Rhett today because I've got a house full of dogs because I'm watching my son's dogs and they're hanging out at our house and they are very energetic, although they did just spend a bunch of time barking at cats. So after a very intense barking session, they are all sleeping at the moment. So that's good. Last week I did add like some text and some styling around this around the API page because I felt like that one doesn't. You could actually write stuff and it would make sense. I don't think that like it would probably make sense to write stuff, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't think I can write anything that's going to be useful. I think a video is going to be a lot more useful that explains how discrete and continuous work, at least how it worked in August of 2025. It is August 8th, 2025, which is pretty cool. Um, Actually, it's August 9th, 2025, which is very, very cool. Anyways, so last week I added those this commentary, but I did not commit it. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see. I don't even remember what how I do commits around here. Tweaks routing, implements grammars. So it looks like I don't really have like a standard like, oh, this is video number blah 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 or something like that. See, I did do video 14, um, 114, which I guess could be useful. I don't think so. I don't think there's anything particularly exciting in this. So I'm just gonna say adds descriptions for the API tab. Git add dot. I think everything looks good. Let me look one more time before we stage everything. Yeah, so that makes sense. So all it was is HTML and styling. Git commit dash m adds description text for the API tab. Man, we are so close to being done with this application, which I think, well, no, it's not the first application. It's by far the biggest application that I've ever finished on YouTube. Um, and so git push. All right, so now what we want to do is put a little hamburger menu up here next to speech, voice, Angular voice analyzer. So this is a perfect time where I will do this. This should not be too bad. I don't think it's going to be. That is so weird. Why it's finding package. I guess because I recently opened this one. Um, but this is the one that I care about, I think. I'm going to go to this view. Yeah, I think this is right. Yeah, this looks right. Now close others. So this is probably the best way just to sort of reset yourself, get yourself at a good starting spot to start the new coding. This should be fairly straightforward task. I don't think it's going to be very hard. Okay, so in here is what it is. And I would like to basically have a hamburger menu that goes to the right of this text, um, which probably the easiest way to do something like that will be to probably with Flexbox, and it will probably be. Is that right? Yeah, I think it would be Flexbox. Um, so let's just do this, div, and we're just going to call it. And this is our app component. So this is going to be on every page. Our routing, our routing and everything, and the tabs all are from here down. So I'm just going to call this div. I'm going to call it class equals header, and then it's been a while since like since I've been really doing a lot of CSS, but span hamburger. I'm not going to worry about how to get the actual icon or anything until I get this to show right. So right now what should happen is I believe the hamburger will be below it. Yeah, we want it to be side by side. So in order to make it side by side, probably just makes sense just to add a header class, CSS class, and then just say display flex. And I believe this will all automatically, yeah, so that automatically put them side to side. But I do want them to like sort of be edge to edge. And there is sort of one funny use case in if there's only two things, you can get this to happen pretty easily with flex, to basically left and right align everything. And I believe it's, I don't know, let's go here. Okay, ChatGPT. Gosh, it's just so much easier than Googling. But like, I was actually watching a video yesterday of like, because ChatGPT apparently has been down like 4 times. And in those 4 times, a ton of people found out that they actually cannot do their job. Like, they just can't. Their job, they are absolutely useless in their job without ChatGPT. Now, that sounds crazy, but it isn't as crazy as you think it is, because I can't do my job without my phone now, because I have to use this Duo thing to log in. So if I were to lose my phone, I can't work anymore. We have tons of things like that, but ChatGPT, I guess, is in some ways like a crutch for your brain, and I guess you want to be able to use your brain, but with CSS Flex, I have 2 divs in a header. I want the 2 divs to be to be pushed to the far left and right for a hamburger menu. Class left, class right. I don't want that space. Just for this is what I think. I think all I want is this. All I want to do is zoom, and boom, boom. Let's see, Control S. Yep, and there it is. There it be. Now I want to put an icon in there, so I think the next thing will be just to find an icon and throw it in there and see if that just works. So apparently I did it inside of the indicator. Man, that feels like a million years ago. Okay, app API indicator. So I want to find this guy here. So I'm just going to search on that, and basically I want the actual components. So I'm looking for this selector, and basically we just want to grab this. And replace this guy with this. I think this is all. I think this should be okay. I don't know, because then we're going to need it to pop up like a menu, and yeah, I may be going the wrong approach. Okay, so that is the right. That's right. But um, we want an icon for the hamburger. See if they give it to us. Because I did mention the hamburger. Apparently it's a menu. That is wild, Matt. Icon. So we did things a little different. Let's try this one. That is definitely different than... Okay, so that is right, and I like that. Kind of is a little skinny for my... I kind of wish these were a little thicker, but I think it's fine. So I believe... I'm just going to call it menu. And then I think I want to put this inside of a... Basically, I want... Well, I guess I want this matte icon... And I guess I'm going to give it a class of menu. And then menu. And then we want a cursor to be the pointer. So basically we want... And I think we want like the padding, maybe the margin, probably the margin to be about 5 pixels. I think that'll look a little better. And then I would love to have it, and now I think it's good the way it is. I was gonna say I would love to have it like when you click on, I mean it to be kind of a square, but I think this is fine. We could add like a hover event. Wonder what happens if I take the border, make it 2px. Oh, 2px solid black. Oh yeah. So basically I just want to make that like that on hover. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I think that's cool. It's cool. I guess these are kind of the moments you live for. The when you're really like working on stuff and it like I can't. Am I doing this wrong? Right? Might just be okay. Yeah, I was just upset that I didn't. Yeah, I think that's nice. Okay. Okay, so now I want this whole thing, when I click on it, to show a... okay, so I have this code. When I click on the icon, I want to show a drop-down menu. Okay, so now this is where it's probably going to lead me wrong. It just tends to lead you wrong. Like it gives you a solution, but it's not necessarily the best solution for you. I've found with ChatGPT, because there's literally probably a dozen different ways to do this, and most of what it's getting its information. Here's my guess: is most of where it's getting its information for. Well, I'm on like Angular 20 or Angular 19, are probably for like Angular 10, Angular 12 solutions. So yeah, you got to take it as it comes. I mean, it has never actually coded this stuff. It can only read where other people coded it. Okay, so I want to pop a menu under the hamburger icon when the user clicks on it. So, okay, so that's a good idea. So basically, they're saying go ahead and make this its own little object, and we'll name it hamburger menu. So basically, behind the scenes, what Angular is going to do is it's going to create a variable named hamburger menu. Um, now I don't know what this equals map menu does. I'm very curious about that actually. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna have to make sure I update things, and then I'm so curious what this does. What does this do? So yes, this on the left is called an Angular template variable, and it's bound to the bat. Okay, so this is a directive called map menu. Creates a variable inside your template called hamburger menu. So you can actually get access to this variable in your TypeScript. And then equals tells, instead of giving me the raw HTML element, assign the map menu directive instance associated with this element. The menu directive is what powers the menu behavior in Angular material. And then this writes a bunch of code for you behind the scenes, boilerplate code that knows how to launch it and put it in the right place and all that stuff. All right. I guess we should do the plain English. It's a label for your map menu, so other components like the trigger button icon below will know which menu to open. If you left the map menu off and just did hamburger, you'd get a reference to the raw HTML, not the material menu instance, meaning the Angular material trigger would not know how to open it. So that's pretty cool. And I guess we can click this. Let's look at the diagram, sure. Okay, so I said sure, but it wasn't. It didn't show the diagram. How about there we go. I think it's really neat how they do that. I don't know what this Arduino thing is, though. I would love to know that. So user clicks the hamburger icon, menu trigger equals hamburger menu. Menu trigger clicks, map menu service. So this is a service that's provided by Angular Material. Calculates the position under the icon, creates a floating overlay container, moves. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's add our menu to our template. And I don't really know exactly how Angular knows not to show this, to hide this. But if we add that, okay, so it's upset because we have not imported things. So let's go ahead and do the imports. It did give us the imports to make sure we brought in them. We might already have some of these. So let's go in this view and go to TypeScript. Looks like we have the map icon module, but we don't have the other two. And then let's go back over here. Okay, so it is compiling now, but it's still complaining about this. I don't really... Did I put it? I guess I put it in the wrong place. Maybe. This is... I think we're in the API indicator. We did not want to do that. Okay, so let's copy these two. So we're probably actually going to need all three of those. So actually, I had them. Okay, so we're going to need all three of these. Control X. And then we want to come back over here, and we want to go into the correct component, and that's this guy. And so it looks like we're already bringing in the matte icon module. So we're doing that over here. So let me Control Z this. This is so, like, when you've done it a bunch of times, it's pretty straightforward, but man, the first few times was really hard. All right, so let's bring our map menu icon module in. Did we have a button? I don't remember having a button. Maybe we did. Hit save and see if this guy's still broken. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. And so that's such one of the most confusing things to me in all of Angular material. So like map menu failed. It compiled. The transpiler actually found that it was broken because it didn't know what a map menu is. But see, this is a regular button with the map menu item directive. So the transpiler does not catch that you wanted to do something with this. So we still do need the button because this, I'm assuming this is whatever in Angular knows what to do with this is in sort of inside of the button module. So let's bring that one in too. All right. So one thing I want to do is just look in here and see in the source code, in the elements code, which is technically not the source code. So I don't see our I was expecting to see our this guy here, our template reference variable, our menu in here, but it's not in there. So let's see. Oh, and we aren't doing anything with it yet because we didn't. I like that. I like how when you mouse over, you get the square. So we forgot to, I didn't add this here. So let's scroll on up. Okay, so that's to handle the buttons. We are looking for this map menu trigger for map menu. This kind of code sort of drives me crazy because like it's just like you could spend forever trying to understand that, and it just doesn't, it's not worth it as far as I can tell, like to actually go in there and just really understand what's going on. Like basically they did a ton of work behind the scenes so that you don't have to. And you know, most of it are just like, you know, implementation details that just really aren't that interesting unless you're just in it. Oh man, that is so nice. I mean, I don't know. I think it looks good. It looks good enough, but it's just so nice when that just works out. And I mean, I'm here to tell you that we knocked that out in like 15 minutes. I have many times, heads down, quiet, spent half a day, a whole 6 hours trying to get something like that working. And it's just kind of one of those things, like if you stay on the path and you don't end up making some silly mistake along the way, it's a 15-minute job. If you make one small teeny tiny little mistake along the way, oh my gosh, you know, like the rabbit hole you end up down is just epic. All right, so we know we want one called um, about, and then I think we want one called um, uh, development. And what's the word we like so much now anymore? I'm on my development process journey. And finally, and this is going to be a link to the video, to the channel, that where all these videos are. And then let's see. This is so weird. I don't know why that one is acting different than the other ones. Tab. All right. And then how to. All right, so this one is going to be a pop-up with text that just talks about, you know, why and how this software was developed and stuff. And then this is going to be a link to the YouTube channel. And then this is going to be a how to use video that's going to be, I guess, probably a pop-up, kind of like the about pop-up, but instead it's just going to have a video that you can play, that just says, hey, click this. This is how to do it. And basically I'm just going to do a quick run through, and hopefully it'll be like less than 3 minutes long, that shows what the API does and how it works, and how it worked in 1995, how you use discrete, you know, like hello, let's just make sure it works. Hello. And then go to continuous and just show continuous working. Hello. How are you? Won't you tell me your name? There's that. And then I guess, yeah, that should be good. Well, I guess it also would be good to capture. No, it's just how to use it, and just basically mention that you will get slightly different results. That it only works in Chrome, and you will get slightly different results in Edge at this time. And that's that. Let's see, is this, oh, so I didn't save it. Okay, and I'm just gonna do like the easiest one, development journey. God, I like that. It actually looks better with more text about the developer. That's me. How to use. And let's go there. All right, so now I just want to link, and I think it should just be like an actual link that just takes you over, like takes you to YouTube. And I think I figured out where this is, where we want to link to. Okay. Okay, so let's just come over here. I'm just gonna put that link there and then make a comment out of that. And then I'm gonna say, okay, so I want this one, hyperlink another page at I want to go to another one. I wonder if it's going to look good though. So it looks like I could just do this. Make this an anchor instead of a button. So let's just try that first and see if it still looks good. That might be one of the major benefits to doing it this way, is that it doesn't matter what the element is. Oh man, that's nice. What an incredible. And then I just can do an href. And oh man, that's nice. Now, over at YouTube, I've got a JavaScript bug, a syntax error in the JavaScript. Oh my god. That is hilarious. Now that would not, I don't believe that would show up if my tools weren't there, but it just goes to show like how broken everything on the internet is right now. Like I bet you at YouTube they have 500 developers for this. And I bet you if you dug into it, you'd find out that like literally five of them are just truly gifted developers. And then 80 of them can code and all that. And then the other 115 would not have the vaguest idea how to commit code into Git. Which, you know, if you can't commit code into Git, you can't code in an enterprise, or unless they have a different code repository or code system. But yeah, so there obviously something was broken, that there's some sort of JavaScript issues in the Google YouTube, which is always cracks me up, because like you could be working, like you could be some, you know, person in another country earning, you know, like, I don't know, some, because of, you know, the way the currencies and all that work, you know, maybe you can live wherever you're at for what would be $1,000 a year in the United States, which here in the United States wouldn't even pay for like a month of housing in most areas. So you can make hardly anything, and then they're like, but we expect these really high standards, and like nobody has those standards at the high ends. But like I used to have a website that I charged people $10 a month back in 1997. $10 a month, and like a lot of these people were realtors and stuff, and they were like making literally like $1,000, $2,000 a month off of the website, and I was charging them $10 a month, and they were like genuinely expecting me to work 20 hours a week for them for $10 a month. You know, they would just constantly be like, change this, change that, change this. You know, it was crazy. Anyway, so this is working. So basically tomorrow, I guess I'll get this pop-up working. So when you click on that, you get like a pop-up, which I believe is going to be another one of these template reference variables. And then I think I don't want the pop-up. I probably want the slide down. So if I go to, this is how I would have done it before ChatGPT. I would have said Angular. I would have done a search. Angular material. And then click in here. Oh, that is not even the right one. Infrastructure. Then I would click in there. See that right there? Like you don't, that won't happen if you're using Chat GPT. It won't happen. You won't get that click there. I think that Google really messed up um, the whole web, like with their advertising scheme. Because basically what it did was it turned the web from like something where people wanted to make code or make videos that people for other people to people wanting to make videos for advertisers that people would like. And I think the web would be a much, much more interesting and fun place to be if Google had never gone down that path. I really, didn't work, but I really liked the way AOL did it. Because what AOL did was they made it to where it was like a walled garden, which that was the downside, but like it wasn't advertising driven. It was more like they charged you to be online per minute, or they would charge you like a fee, and so they wanted compelling content. They wanted content that would keep you in the network, not content that advertisers would like to pay for you to watch. So um, anyway, so we got our components, and then well, what we want is, so this is what I would have done in the past, and I may have to do it again. So really the question is like, do you want a dialogue? I think there's two choices. You want a dialogue, and this is what you would want normally if you were like on a computer. This is the one you'll usually go, and then there's also another one. It's called like down, something down, sort header, stepper, table, tabs, time picker, toolbar, tooltips. Oh, maybe they got rid of it. There used to be like another one that was like dialogue, but it would sort of slide down from the top. But it doesn't look like that one is around anymore. Oh, bottom sheet. Yeah, so this is the other one. I believe what happens is, yeah, see, it's primarily for mobile, but it's kind of nice. Basically, what happens is, like, if we look at an example, um, let's see. I feel like you used to be able to. Man, it's just so weird. So it's taking me to Stack Blitz. I actually saw a website or um, a recruiter reached out to me for a job. Okay, this is so lame. Um, Reached out for a job, and is this it? Okay, yeah. See how this came up from the bottom, and then so that was one choice, and I believe you can make it like go all the way to the top, um, but the other option, which I guess I'll probably go with, I think the um, dialogue makes a lot of sense. So there's that one, and then there's the dialogue, which to me they seem like pretty identical, right? So then you get this pop up, and so I could have that pop up and um, have all my stuff in it without animation. Yeah, so something like that is like about me and all that. Um, and then I think you can just click off here. Uh, Now, so let's see what they say. Used to open modal box with material design and animations. So these are the two. And what's really strange is that you would think that you could just like set one up and then just, okay, I'm going to use a different component and all that. But the API is slightly different. So switching from one to the other is not as straightforward as it probably should be. Or at least it wasn't back when I was using both pretty regularly. But I think I think I'll go with the dialogue. I think I almost always want to go with this bottom sheet, and then I kind of look at it for a little bit, and then I'm like, no, I like this dialogue better. Um, but I believe it's going to be something very similar to, like, if we look at these examples. Um, I believe what happens is, oh, okay, so in this one they actually bring in like another TypeScript, another component to be on that. I wonder if you can actually use a template reference variable. I'm curious about that. So basically, like with this, you could just set up a template down here, right? Set up some markup and then just tie it to this, and it just pops up with this hamburger menu trigger. I kind of would like. I'm wondering if you can do the same thing. Okay, so one of my menu that launches a dialog. I see in the Angular material documentation, they import component be the content dialog. Can this be done with a template reference variable like the menu? Yes, you can absolutely open a material dialog from a template reference variable instead of creating a separate component. See, yeah, the thing is like normally you probably would want to launch a component, because maybe if you want it to do stuff, but like literally I just want to show content, so I don't see any reason that I want a full component. Yeah, so it looks like I can do like an ng template and then just pop stuff up and then just say, Marty the JavaScript Party, put a link to my YouTube channel. I worked on this for blah, 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 blah. The reason I worked on it was for blah, 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 da, 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 da. And put that all in here, pop it up, and I'm done with that. And then all that would be left would be to create a video, which that will also get popped up in here, and it'll have like a player in there, and a video that shows how to use the application, and then do a package build, push it somewhere, maybe see if I can push it also to be over at GitHub too, to launch as part of the Git repo, and then like literally we're done. This is over. So that's pretty neat, and this is going pretty quick. And I'm going to miss this project a lot, but I think the two new projects that are going to spawn from this are both going to be really fun. I don't foresee, like, I think the Say Hello, like the most of the development of the Say Hello project will be like done in like less than 2 months. And then I think the other one could take a year. The template, the flashcard builder one could take a year, because I just think there's just so many, like it's not, well, yeah, there's just so many cool things that you can do with it. And I'll probably want to implement at my current job, we're using AG Grid, so I definitely want to get more comfortable with AG Grid again. I have worked with AG Grid a lot, so I'll probably want to implement an AG Grid in there, and then implement like a CSV so that you could just import a CSV with all your cards on it, and and you can build out your cards, through, like, it won't just be voice. That'll be kind of like the primary way, at least, to get things rolling. Um, and then and then I'll probably also want, I don't know if I want a JSON way of doing it as well, probably. And the thing is then, I want you to be able users to be able to export their flashcards and import their flashcards and then share their flashcards. Um, and so that would probably, that's gonna, the whole sharing of flashcards is gonna be a pure PHP backend thing. So, anyways, that is that. We're coming on strong. We're almost done. We're right at the end. We could easily knock this out today if we wanted to, but I don't see any reason to. And the application is super easy to develop for now. Like, this whole thing took like no time um, to build out. I could definitely do that in less than a day. Um, and I think that is because the application is very, very maintainable. Um, and like, really, the only part that was really, really, really hard was when I had finished up discrete and I was trying to move to continuous, and the way the payloads work was just similar enough and different enough to just really throw a wrench in the whole system. But that will do it. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.